All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I'm Onebar with Lupagus, and we're 1 week, well, almost 1 week in the free agency. The first wave is done. We're going to look at 5 more potential Viking free agent targets, and I got to warn you, they're not the sexiest names, but they might have teeth.
Yeah, they're not. And you said wave 1's done. Hell, wave 2 might be done. We might be in wave 3 at this point. It happens fast, and now we're just getting the trickle downs.
Yeah, we're definitely getting that. I mean, I suppose if Dan Feeney is being signed, you're right. We might be in. Yeah. Anyways, let us know in the comments. Any free agents out there that you still hope the Vikings will sign? Hit that sub button. We're getting the 12K. Damn it, whether you like it or not. Number 1. Actually, number 5.
And I mean, we're just kind of trying to identify guys that are out there that we maybe think would fit, that maybe Kwesi would go after. So this isn't like, the best guys out there. This is like, realistic options.
Realistic options for what we need at number 5, Taven Bryan, former first round selection, defensive lineman, big boy.
Yeah, you can jump with Dan Feeney. Dan Feeney can teach him how to grow a mustache and a mullet. They look almost like twins. Yeah, former first round pick. I mean, he's got 10.5 career sacks. He's got 134 tackles. I mean, he's been just slightly productive, not what you want from a first round selection. He's definitely been a disappointment and a bust in his career, but a guy who can still give you a little bit on the D-line.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be depth. What I like about him, he started 40 games in his career, the 10.5 sacks. He'd be a 5-tech end, and he's a guy that can get after the quarterback a little bit. His run defense appears to be mildly poopy, but he can get after the quarterback, and he would just, I mean, he's taking like the Ross Blackrock role, or I mean, he's just taking one of those roles.
Not make the team.
Yeah, well, he made the team the first year.
He did. Yeah, I forgot he did.
We currently have 4 defensive linemen. Yeah. And if we're going to look at the draft for defensive linemen, it's going to be all mid to late rounders. So adding a Taven Bryan, a guy a body that could potentially push for a roster spot, why not?
Yeah, and he's been consistent. Like, I mean, he gets around 25 tackles a year, so it's not like he just all of a sudden falls off the face of the earth. He's kind of just been who he is.
Yeah, he started 7 games last year. So Taven, I would be all for you. Next up, former 3rd round pick, I think he was. This dude out of Florida State was like all of a sudden super hot in that draft. He came out a big man, edge rusher, Rashim Green.
And he's played all over. He's played end. He's played linebacker. He's played D-line. He's huge. And yeah, I mean, his best year, he had 6.5 sacks, and that's when he was in Seattle as a linebacker. So they stood him up and they had him play some edge. Again, you look at the 4 guys we have right now at the position. Obviously, the 2 at the top in Grenard and Van Ginkel. Behind them is a question mark. Jones did actually come on late last year, but can you really rely on him to be your top backup? I don't think so. And then you also got Andre Carter, the rookie phenom who didn't do much of anything. So it makes sense to add an edge. And I like Green, and I also think he could be a versatile piece for Brian Flores who can move him all over the front 7.
Yeah, he adds depth at multiple spots. Again, a guy who started 29 games. You mentioned his 2021 season with Seattle. It was fantastic. Only a little bit removed from that. Chicago last year, Houston, he's bounced around a little bit. And again, like Taven Bryan, this should be a fairly cheap option that adds some decent depth at the position. Let's go to a guy that would probably start. And guess what rhymes with start?
Tartt and fart.
Yeah, they both do. They both do. The big man, Tartsky.
Yeah, the big man, 6'2", 304 pounds. You'd probably move Harrison Phillips out to end if you bring this guy in. He's a load. He's an absolute load. He's not going to provide a whole lot of interior pass rush. What's he there to do? Eat up blocks, free up those linebackers, plug running lanes, and he can do that. And he's probably one of the spend your options, I think, that's on this list.
Yeah, and he's making some visits. I mean, this one's probably a little bit of a pie in the sky one, more of a want. Like, we want that big boy to come in. What you do not like to see is they basically moved on from him because of lack of effort and attitude. So, maybe comes in and Brian Flores is like, hey, that shit ain't going to fly with me, man. You just get up there, you move some bodies. So Tartt is probably the best big boy out there left. It would be wonderful, but
yeah. Oh, look at that name. There's a name. There's a name.
How happy he is to be on this list. He couldn't be happier.
It's like his head's not quite on straight there. Tre'Davious White. Once, one of the better cornerbacks in the league. Oh, I thought he was with a different team. He's been with Buffalo his entire career. He's played the left side. He's played the right side. This is a guy who will come up and make a tackle. He's got 311 career tackles. So you definitely love what he can do in run support. and then 68 passes defensed. I mean, that's pretty damn good too. So Javis White, what the Vikings need in that secondary is the guy with some experience.
Yeah, he's 29 years old. He started 82 games. His big thing is he's coming off that Achilles. The Bills just released him a couple weeks ago when they pretty much released their entire team. So at 29 years old, he still has enough to offer. And yeah, he was one of the best. And we don't need the best right now. We just need good depth. A guy that's definitely going to play a lot of snaps, but we don't have to rely on him as our number one. And it's going to be interesting to see what this guy what someone's going to pay him coming off that injury. 29 years old, but I would love everything about it.
But happy. He's so happy.
He is happy. He's like, thank you for putting me on this list. And the next one is a gimme. And one guy we didn't mention, Xavier Howard. We at least got to mention him. Of course, we want him. We've talked about him so much. I didn't feel like it was justified to put him on the list.
I think I think it's going to happen.
Jeez.
I just don't know when. It might not be till later. Could be after.
I don't, but I hope it does. And this guy, next guy, we've talked about quite a bit too. But at this point, come back. We need you. I don't care what the Vikings offer is. I don't care if it's not as much as you want. Blake Brandel is currently slated to be our starting left guard. Dalton, we love you.
Yeah, Dalton, come back. I mean, maybe he wants to. Maybe, I don't know what's holding this thing up. I mean, apparently the Vikings still have some money to spend. I would invest in Dalton Reisner. Again, he played well enough to bring him back. Right now, you got Blake Brandel over there, and then you look at that backup, the guy who's floating around that we just signed, Dan Feeney. No one wants Dan Feeney to see the field, and he's only one injury away from that happening. So, Dalton, yes, make it happen. And the other thing, too, if you don't, what's your best bet to update this position? It's going to be like the 4th round of the draft with a 4th round rookie guard.
Blake Brandel.
Sometimes those pan out, sometimes those don't. But I would feel much more comfortable with Dalton Reisner on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I was clamoring for a Damian Lewis, and I was getting very greedy. Our first videos of free agency, and then all of a sudden everybody's gone, and it's Dalton Reisner. So Dalton Reisner would be a wonderful, wonderful addition. But everybody, like everyone is following the Vikings, everything like that. They're saying it's not going to happen. Like it would have happened. If the Vikings wanted him back, he'd be back here by now. So the chances of this happening seem very, very low. But who knows?
It seems like it's next to none at this point, and it makes us sad because we love Dalton Reisner, good human, great locker room guy, passionate speaker, eloquent speaker.
Very good. Like his drop kick in the air was wonderful. A lot of good memories. We're not writing them off yet, but it would be a little bit of a surprise. Let us know, comments. Out of these guys, which one would you want back? Or maybe you got somebody else you want to bring back. Not bring back, sign.
Absolutely. Let us know in the comments. And remember this, St. Patrick wasn't actually Irish.